Hi everyone, we are here with Sami, and today she's going to share her real estate investing journey and hopefully get some of you off the fence if you've been scared to commit to trying out rental properties and a new lifestyle. So Sami, if you wouldn't mind, please tell everyone a little bit about yourself, where you live, what you do for work, and maybe any experience or anything you had with rental properties before joining the program.
Okay, yeah. I'm Sami. I am an epidemiologist and I live in Los Angeles, California. I had zero experience with rental properties before I started this, and that's why I was really interested in it. And my house that I bought is in Los Angeles as well. And was there anything else I needed to cover there?
I think that's it for that one.
Okay.
So prior to joining the program, what types of research had you done to get yourself prepared for this journey? Were you like watching YouTubes or did you read any specific books that you thought were helpful, or what kind of research had you done?
Almost all of my research had been audiobooks. I listened to all of the Robert Kiyosaki books, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books. And then I'm into metaphysical stuff too. So I was reading a lot of those types of prosperity books and such. I read a few rental property books that I can't even remember them because they weren't good. And a few other books on paper assets. But I would say that the Robert Kiyosaki ones were the ones that first got me onto potentially rental properties as an investment.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. His books are really good. I haven't read all of them, but I know I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad several times growing up. My best friend even gave it to me early 2000s when I started real estate investing. When I was a real estate agent, she gave me that book and I was like, I already read it, but I'll take it. And it still has the inscription, and it's one of the books that I keep forever because it's just such a good book. If you haven't had that mindset before, it really changes the way you think about
real estate,
and living life in general, and all they teach you in school and, what they don't teach you in school. So
yeah, absolutely.
So you read all of those books and you still felt you needed like a coaching program or someone to help you through your first deal. What was missing for you with all that research you did? What was missing for you that you're like, I need to reach out to Casey or somebody for some help?
It's part of to me, it was kind of like when I hired a personal trainer to help me work out, like I already knew all the knowledge on it. Or at least I could, to exercise and eat right or whatever. But the whole reason why I hired someone was just to show me how to do it. Yeah. And it really fast tracked my fitness journey. And that was like 6 years ago. And it completely changed my life. So with this, I also was thinking, I've gathered all this knowledge. I've got the goal in mind to do rental properties. Nobody in my family had done it, and nobody that I knew personally had done it. And I was also looking on Instagram. I was looking at your account and a few others that were about investing. Mm-hmm. And it just made a lot of sense to me to hire someone to hold my hand through it. I mean, if I had someone in my life who could do that, I probably still would have paid them. So to help me at the level that I needed. Yeah. So just choosing to hire a mentor to help me with this was kind of a no-brainer. It seemed like the first part of my investment into this.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did a lot together over the last several months, and there was an online course, and there was a coaching program, the one-on-one like this through Zoom. What would you say was the most or the bestest, the best thing that you benefited from? What did you enjoy the most? I guess there we go from our time together.
I think the thing that I used most frequently was the access to you, emailing you and then having our meetings. The emailing was honestly the more useful thing for on my like actual journey of like when I was looking at Fernwood, and then I was, I had all my little places and we kept in touch about them and like all the drama on them. It was like really handy to have you to email. But then also the course was just like it was like taking my audiobooks and like just putting them into a thing. It was the same way that I like downloaded the knowledge from my audiobooks is how I like downloaded the knowledge from the course. Because it wouldn't have made sense to be discussing, FHA loans and FHA 203K loans like in our conversations, because you can just give me that information. But I found that was like just learning about how financing works and like how buying property works was like I mean, I didn't know any of that before. So I would say that, and I used all of that information in my search. So I would say that was like extremely helpful. I don't know if I can quantify which one was more helpful, the like one-on-one coaching or the course, because the course was invaluable.
Thank you.
And I have my notebook. I mean, like this was one of the things in the course was like, get yourself a notebook, and I have filled it up. Like,
oh, I love it. Yeah, to get a notebook and take notes. Yeah.
Bible that I take with me everywhere. And it has all of the information from the course. Like, I just was like, I just kept really meticulous notes and I followed up on a lot of that stuff. And it was amazing because the lender that I worked with and my realtor, like nobody knew about all these different aspects of everything. And this was where I learned that. So like when I was trying to get a 203K loan for the place that it was a probate house that had like a retaining wall issue.
Right.
Nobody I was working with was like, you could potentially get a 203K loan for this. But I knew that I could. So I went and talked to a lender about that.
Yeah.
Lost that house because, it's Los Angeles, but.
So tell everybody about the house you did get. What was that journey like? Oh, and I want you to tell, just because I think it's Los Angeles, it's California. If you remember any of the details, tell everybody about the issues you've had and found with tenant buyouts and the landlord-tenant laws in Los Angeles, because that was, I learned a lot there. I knew some of that, but I did not realize that it was to that degree until you started really looking there. But anyway, yeah. I love to, like, if you remember any of that, and then tell us all about your house you got.
Okay, yeah. I guess I'll start with the original. Okay, so my house is a single family, but the original hunt was for multifamilies, and I was mainly looking at duplexes for the majority of my time. I did end up looking at triplexes too, but every place, I mean, the duplex scene out here was extremely competitive to the point where most places were falling apart and they could ask whatever they wanted for it. And it was still competitive. The tenant situation, so in LA, and especially during COVID, I mean, there's really good rent control here for tenants. And if the house is built before 1970, then it is covered under rent control, period. And so that's a lot of houses out here. And you can't evict anyone for moving in as an owner unless there's no other comparable place to move into in the unit. And then also, if the tenant is over 62 or has any handicap or disability, or if they have been there for 10 years or more, then they're entirely exempt from anything. So you are stuck with the rent. I mean, you're allowed to raise the rent by, whatever, 2% a year, or whatever they choose for that year. And then you can't you can't move them out or for anything. So there's a whole scene here for buying tenants out, because that's the only way you can get an empty property. And the like base going rate is $50,000. And that seems to be across all neighborhoods and areas of the city. So the first house that the first duplex that I was looking at had a pair of tenants in the upstairs that were paying about half of market rent and had no intention of leaving. And then we found out that but this is what really blows my mind about it. The seller had offered them $20,000 to move, and they said no, they wanted $49,000, and the seller wouldn't buy them out. And then the house sat on the market for another few months, and the seller dropped the asking price by $100,000.
Yeah.
So there were some really strange decisions by sellers regarding buying people out. I think that it was, I ran into this at another place a few months later, where the sellers were just straight up afraid of the tenant. And I spoke personally to that tenant. At that point, it was months in and had been dealing with this enough times. I just said like, hey, what are you thinking as far as a buyout? And he said 60. And I was like, that sounds good. But the sellers had said that he would never move for any reason, and he had refused all buyouts. And I was like, oh, okay, so just a matter of there's some really bizarre relationships with tenants and landlords out here, and a lot of landlords are afraid of their tenants here, which isn't a good sign. I mean, I was kind of really put off by that. That's scary. But also, you know, there was one place that I found that was like the one that I made the big offer on early on, which was a vacant duplex that had been gutted and like completely beautified and was perfect. And that one. It was asking $995. I offered $995 cash using the cash offer thing through the realty company I used. And that house went $300,000 over asking to a cash buyer as well. So that one was done. And then there was the other one. Oh, I completely forgot about DeLongpre. There was a duplex, a very tiny duplex in Hollywood that seemed like it could have, oh my God, it was going to be perfect. It was sitting there for a long time. It was asking over $1 million. And I did all my research on it, and it didn't look like you could really get long-term tenants in for over like $1,700 on each side.
That was the one with the deck up top.
Yes. And it was cool. I mean, it had like, it was in a nice, like, it wasn't a nice area of Hollywood. It was in the flats, but with the roof deck, you could see the sign and like whatever. It had no parking, and it was in an apartment like neighborhood. So the parking was extremely difficult. And I just couldn't see how you could even get 2,000 for each of those units, because they were so tiny. They were like 400 square feet each. They had nice amenities, like they each had washer dryer and all that, but it turned out right at the 11th hour. So I had done all the research on like what I could get as far as long-term tenants. It was not good, but I looked into it further, and it was going to be an amazing Airbnb. It was going to be more than double what you could get as long-term tenants. So I looked into that. I started kind of vaguely looking into the laws about it, but was also like, you know, it was getting late for the offer. So we just like put the offer, and then, or we like drafted it up. And the day I went to go see it, we couldn't get in because someone had broken into the lockbox and they were still in the house. It was like a bad scene. It was really like someone broke in the day I went to go see it. Like that wasn't a good sign. Then the next time I went to see it, the agent from my realtor who my personal realtor couldn't go. She sent someone else, and he had done some research, and he said that the sellers were dumping it because it was illegal to Airbnb it. And I looked into it, and it wouldn't have, it's not illegal if I lived there
Right.
on one side.
But you have
But
to
as
be a
soon as you
resident.
move out, yeah, you can't be running a hotel. So that's what LA considers it.
Yeah.
So I just like completely dropped my offer down to like it. They really wanted over $1 million, and I offered, I think, 700. I was like, that's what I can afford with the rents that you're pulling in the cash flow I'm trying to make. And their initial response was like, thank you for your offer. Like, you probably won't be getting a counter. And we were like, okay.
Yeah.
But my offer I had said in my offer, 700, but we'll do really short inspection contingency, and no, there's no finance contingency. Like I'm good for it. Like I can do that. And I assumed that they were just like threw my offer in the trash. But a week later, they called. We were like, I'm sure everyone else is figuring out, oh, you can't Airbnb this place. Yep. So anyway, they called and they said that my offer had the best terms. And if I could work with them on price, then they would like talk to me. And at that point, I was already moved on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a crazy scene. Many other crazy scenes.
You went through a lot of different properties before you
so many properties.
This one that you're in right now.
The one I'm in right now was after a particularly hellish duplex situation just up the street, actually. My realtor was like, look, I know you're trying to do a duplex, but maybe we can find you something that you can live in and then rent later. And let's like consider single families. And I was really beaten down at that point. So I was like, yes, okay, fine, anything. And I saw this, I had gone to see a few single families on my lunch. None of them really were it. They were also really competitive. And then that night I was on my phone on Reddit, and this place popped up, and it was so cute. I immediately sent it to my realtor and I said, like, can we see this tomorrow? And she was so excited about it. She said, this is your house. And we made an appointment to see it the next day after work. Next day, I got COVID. Like I tested positive for COVID. I had to tell my realtor, I was like, I can't go. Like, can you go and FaceTime me? And she said, she got us the last appointment of the day, so there wouldn't be anyone else there. And she said, you have to see it. It's like your house. I'm not going to FaceTime you from like the house that you're going to buy. So what we did was we came, she walked through first and made sure nobody was in here and opened all the like doors and cabinets for me. And then went outside and I could walk through without touching anything, all covered up. And then loved it. And we strategized a little bit about the offer. We decided we would do cash offer, 55K over asking, which I hadn't done yet. I hadn't really offered any place over asking because I was mostly looking at the edge of what I could afford. But this place, I had some room. So that was on a Tuesday. And I didn't want this place to go to a open house because I knew that it was just going to be swarmed. And I mean, you know, I had seen lots of houses and put in lots of offers. So I was trying not to like, you know, get too attached. But I also knew that this was it. So I didn't like hesitate at all. I said, let's make a cash offer for 750 and we'll offer to close it by the end of the year. And that was on December 15th was the day I made the offer. And we did cash offer with a 5-day inspection contingency, and obviously no appraisal or yeah, we waived appraisal, and then obviously no finance contingency. And the seller sat on it for like less than 24 hours and then accepted it on the 16th. And then we found out that there were 16 offers at the time that they accepted my offer. And one was a cash offer that had a $25,000 escalation clause.
And what little trick did you do to lock this one in? You wrote a letter, right?
Oh, yes. So I had been writing letters, but I wrote a very straightforward letter on this one that I included like a cute, like artsy picture, like collage that I threw together, and just put, a bit about myself, but just like, I appreciated this house. The guy did a great job, and I want the house. So I just like complimented the house and said, I really want to make a deal. Like, so get back to me if there's anything about my offer that you want to change. Cause my budget was closer to 800. So I knew I wanted to give a little room so that in case he countered, I could actually meet him. Mm-hmm. So I was prepared to go up to like 775. But they accepted it straight out, 750 cash. And then we got on it, and here it is. And it was exactly what I had written in my journal. Like, there were certain flowers out front that I had wanted to see at my house, and there's a lot of them here. And there are certain architectural features that I was interested in that are here. And the neighborhood is exactly the neighborhood I wanted to be in.
Yeah, that's the neighborhood you mentioned the whole time that you wanted to.
Yeah. The neighborhood I ended up putting in the most offers in was here. So yeah, it was kind of just like this place was, I mean, I had been through enough like loss, like losing and being outbid and whatever, to where I was exactly as prepared as I needed to be to get this house. Because if I had not gone through all the like rejections and outbiddings, I wouldn't probably have come through as like strong as I did. I might have hesitated, but anyway, I did feel a little bit of, I don't know if it's buyer's remorse. I just felt a little weird that they accepted the offer without a counter, because I had been experiencing a lot of that. And I thought, oh no, did I over offer? But it turns out, no, I didn't. The seller definitely left money on the table, but he really liked who I was, and he liked my offer and the way I was trying to do the deal. So, and I think he could tell that I wasn't going to be an issue, because he's a contractor. He fixed this house up. He knows that there's really no issues with it, and he didn't want to deal with someone who was going to give him issues. Yeah. And so I know that I feel like I got an amazing deal. And also, when we did the appraisal for my cash loan, it came in 50 grand above.
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
So I feel the slight hesitation or the slight apprehension about maybe I offered too much, that's gone. That's completely gone. Yep. And it's already appraised more than 50 grand over where it was anyway.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I'm so happy that you got that house. That is what you are.
Yes. Oh, and so the seller was getting rid of some of his Los Angeles properties because he's now investing in Las Vegas and living there. So this was a rental, and he said it was an amazing tenant. I also reminded him of the tenant, whatever. But right. And the neighbors who I know are like, they all speak fondly of the tenant, but this place is going to be an absolutely perfect rental when I'm out of here. But I'm going to enjoy it while I am here.
Yes, well, maybe you'll, like we talked about, maybe you'll be investing out of state so that you
Yes.
can be even there even longer and
Yeah.
enjoy the coffee shops and the taco truck around the corner that I'm really
Yes.
jealous of. Walking distance taco truck. I'd probably be the size of a burrito if I lived near a taco truck.
Oh, I eat there way more than I want to admit.
I would be the first to admit it. Mexican
And I get
food
the
is my
same
favorite.
thing every time.
I know. Guess what I'm at? The taco truck, huh?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I want everyone to know you went through a lot. Los Angeles, investing and buying in, Southern California, it's hard. And the fact that you made it happen, and for everyone that's watching this, you went with a company that could make your offer seem same as cash. So whereas you were an FHA buyer, right, with low money down, this company would like a hard money lender, but would front you the whole 100% purchase price. So you could make a fast close in 2 weeks, all cash, and compete with these millionaire all cash investors.
Yes.
And that was key to you being able to be competitive and compete with like 16 offers. Yes,
it really was. And it ended up being way cheaper than I thought it was going to be to pull that off. So I made a $750,000 cash offer, and all I paid to do that was $3,500 in the interest between when I got that loan and when I got the refinance into the FHA, which is amazing to me. I didn't have to pay 2 closings. I paid, that because their product is like, they've been working on it. They've been trying to make it better and better. So they basically rebate all of the closing costs of their cash loan, so that you're not paying for 2 appraisals and 2 whatever title checks and all that. So that was like, and another thing I really liked about them, I'm not like, I don't work for Fly Homes. I have nothing to do with them. I just enjoyed working with them. One of the things I liked about them too was that their realtors are on salary. So, and I knew that I was going to be a really hard buyer for whoever I got. So I put my realtor to work, and I know that she was paid well, even for the months where we weren't buying anything. That felt good too. That was just a personal thing that I appreciated about doing that. Yeah.
It was cool. That worked out. I wish the Fly Homes company was in every state, because a lot of people could really use that to help out with all cash offers.
Absolutely.
Maybe they'll add to their state list. I think they're in 3 or 4 states or something like that right now, but that was definitely a really cool company.
Oh yeah, they're not even in, they're only in certain cities. They're like in LA and Seattle and some other city right now. So but I think that the concept is not probably super original. There's got to be other lenders and real estate companies that are trying to offer that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Hard money lenders can basically do the same thing, but they really only like to do it with properties that you're going to buy at a low value, fix up, because the interest and all that, it doesn't really work out to just kind of do a switch. With the way that their fee structure is. So the Fly Homes thing definitely is unique. I'm sure there's other companies, and I tried looking, but maybe I'm not using the right keyword searches. I haven't found any more. But if anyone's thinking of a good millionaire idea, that's a good one to start.
Or if you're trying to do that in LA, they're in LA. So you can
they're in LA,
Yeah.
So Sami, what would you say to the people that are watching and they are considering joining the program? They want to buy their first rental property, or they're looking to house hack, and they've been watching me on Instagram. They're watching this testimonial from you, and they've seen other ones. What would you say to those future students to say, you know what, join Casey's program, it's what you need, blah, blah, blah? What would you have to say to them?
I would say similar to how I came to the decision to hire you. I would say, like, think about what your time is worth and whether you think you can you know, gather all the like knowledge and research and support that you need on your own time, or whether it would be more efficient to hire someone like Casey to help you through this. I highly recommend the course. Like the information in the course is, for me, I wasn't going to be able to find all that stuff on my own time. I work full time. Like I have my financial goals, and I listen to audiobooks because I am exercising while I do it. So I don't actually have a ton of time to devote to figuring this stuff out. This is like, it's like, it's not like a time machine, but it's like, it's purchasing the knowledge, you know, and it's like, also I knew that if I hired someone to help me, if I hired Casey to help me, like walk me through it, I knew that it was going to get done. And I wasn't absolutely sure that it was going to get done if I didn't have some accountability to someone else, you know?
Yes, I hear you on that.
Or not necessarily. I mean, like, I actually do have pretty good accountability to myself, but I think as far as like timelines and just like having the brain power of someone else who's already done this, who does this all the time, like having that brain power on my side, like that I can just like, you know, purchase a course and mentorship and have that suddenly, like that experience infused into my experience suddenly, like that's worth it. And it was definitely worth it because of all the knowledge that I got. And I mean, I used an FHA loan. I wouldn't have even really known what that was. So yeah, that's what I would say. I would say do it if you're considering it. And also, you know, look at all your free material. Like there's plenty of free material that you put on your Instagram and stuff. I looked at all of that, and from me looking at that, I thought, okay, there's obviously a lot more behind this. All this information is super useful, and I'm sure that there's a lot more useful information behind that. But I appreciated too, like the free advice on the gram. I think that that's like a huge signal that there's something of way higher value behind it.
Yeah, thanks.
And that was my experience with it as well.
Yeah, I try. I know like a lot of people will just post their experiences, you know, and like, oh, look at this house that I got, whatever. And it's like, and you know, people follow for inspiration, or I want to be like that person, but it never like teaches them anything. And I know people love the inspiration because it makes them feel good inside. But, you know, I really do. I've never been a social media person. People don't care what I ate for lunch. Like, I know that. I don't need to post it online, you know? I don't need to see a picture of my dog going pee by the tree, like, in the park. Like, nobody cares about that. I know that. So I've never been an Instagram or a Facebook person. So when I take the time to create some sort of content on social media, it's because I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
You know? So thank you. I do try and put stuff to help people on their journey. And then when they're ready to go to the next level or take the next step, and they want, you know, hand holding and help, like, because everyone's got a different situation. I've never had anyone in your situation, honestly. Buying an LA property with an all cash offer company. I mean, that was new for me. I learned stuff too. And, you know, it's just, everyone's situation is so different. I have students from all over the place buying all sorts of weird things. And so I understand the value of one-on-one coaching, and it's a lot of work for me, but I like it because I would hate to have a big program that people just buy a course, and when it comes time to buy their property and they're in a certain situation, they don't have anybody to ask for help. Yeah. You know, so I do try my best with that. And I'm really glad, Sami, that it turned out really well for you. One day when I'm in LA, I'm going to drive by. I'm going to be like, because I know your address. But thank you very much. I appreciate all the kind words. And
thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Sami.